always kind of happy, you know, in a manic way to me, you know, just really, you know, perking along there in his life, and I kind of admired that, you know, that he was always happy, and he'd smile at me, we'd smile. It was so nice to see someone smile so much. You know, really his energy was kind of always out there. That's how I knew him.
I didn't know him real well, but I live in Kingston. I'm up here more than Kingston when I'm outside, and pre-COVID anyway. And I have to agree with everything I've heard pretty much from what I do know of him. And yeah, he was a good guy. He's gonna be missed, you know. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing I'm thinking, that a statue and, you know, of him on the green would be extremely appropriate. Yeah, really, a real icon, Woodstock icon.
I met John through my dad. Jogger John told me that my dad was one of the first people that he met when he came to Woodstock. So they were friends from the get-go, and they always looked out for each other the best that they could. The first time I remember meeting John, I was about 5, and we had grown up in Woodstock. My parents were separated, and then my mom and my brother and I moved to Florida for a couple of years, and my dad wanted us to come visit for the winter. So we were growing kids, and we were from Florida at that point, so we didn't have all the winter stuff. We were close to keep warm. So as soon as we got here, it was snowing, it was cold, and Jogger John was visiting my dad, and he warmly greeted us and asked me if I had gloves. And I told him I didn't have any gloves yet. So he said, come on, let's go get you some gloves. And he put me on his shoulders and gently jogged me into town, and we got some gloves at a store on the green. And then I remember putting my gloves on his shoulders, and like the snow was falling down the green. I just had this experience of, you know, the magic of Christmas in Woodstock on the green, sitting there up on his shoulders and putting the gloves on. And then he jogged us back to my dad's. And then just recently, this was the last time I had an exchange with him, I saw him at the station, and he noticed I was cold, and he offered to share his hot soup with me. And then he said, hold on, I'll be right back. And he ran and found some clothes that he had, I think, strategically placed in town in case he or anyone else got cold. And so he pulled out these 2 sweatshirts, and he, like, you know, wrapped me up really sweetly, and just wanted to make sure I was warm enough. So he's always very empathic and attentive, and he's got a sparkle in his eye, and he was telling me how actually Jesus had revealed himself to him. And so I know he loved the Lord, and that was also part of how he and my dad connected. Anyway, it's just really kind of full circle that was the last time I saw him, and he was just making sure I was warm enough, just like he did the first time I saw him. So yeah, and then I saw him passing, but there's a lot of traffic, and I did wonder if he was doing okay, and I wish I had stopped. That was the last time I saw him, just a couple days ago. That's that. But I was just at the drum circle after the thing for like a couple songs, and I felt his presence in everybody in the room. It really was moving.
I met John. I had, you know, various interactions with him in the community. Super.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. sorry. I met John a number of years ago when my family and I moved to town. Seen him in various lights over the years. And again, you shared too, always sparkle in his eyes, a warm story to tell, some helpful guidance, maybe a life check or two. Sometimes in a really obscure way. I remember sometimes, you know, where he would approach and always so happy to see him, you know, every time just reminded, just spoke home. And when he would speak, he would speak like in the most abstract, ironic ways that kind of make sense to me, to something that was, you know, maybe on your mind for, you know, the passings of your day, or to remind you where you were. First time I met him, I was over outside Bread Alone, and he came up to my daughter and I, she was about 4 at that time, and asking us if we could open our mouths, because he had something he'd like to share with us. And he had a spray bottle. I remember it was a Badger bottle, you know, the little with the labeling. I still can see it. It was kind of peeled off, and it had the masking tape on it, and it said Himalayan crystal on there. And I'd be like, what's that? You know? And he's like, well, open your mouths. I want to try something. And, you know, being a single mom, and you know, we came here as part of the library. And we really enjoyed that, and then we moved here. And so I didn't really know anyone here, and he came running up to us backwards, like kind of on the hill right there, and I was like, whoa, you know, that's really cool. And then he stopped short and came back. That's when, now I remember, that's when he gave us the bottle, and I remember thinking, like, you know, my Raven was like, no, I don't want it. I was like, it's okay, you know. But then I affirmed him, I shared with him, and I was like, wow, that, you know, I know the benefits of this too, and like I use it, like, you know, almost every day. I try to, and he high-fived me. And he went, yeah, you know, and then from there was, you know, instant friends. And over the years we've had a lot of really random interactions. I love hearing everyone say that about him. Again, the joy he would feel when you'd see him, and also when he maybe ran or rode his bike away. The last time I saw John was a couple weeks ago too. I was over by Tannery Brook. My family and I had been going through some changes, and we had been in short-term housing for about a year. And that was coming to pass. And at the end of all that, a lot of stress, when you see it, you know, you're there, I came to town, and I parked over by the library, super comforting, you know, went about my way. I don't particularly remember where I was going. I think I was maybe going to Boost or something. And by there, and he came running up to me. There were 2 interactions over the course of like a couple days. First was, this is like the last ones. They're so like tied together in an ironic sense. Oh, again, like always at those random, like the meeting points, like when you're like out of nowhere. Oh, hi, you know, he comes up to you. I go to make the turn, and he showed me his nails were done, that the girls did his nails, and that, you know, he went to go sweep right after, because he, you know, needed to get to work, and to, you know, and that he messed it up and he had to redo it. So I remember like we touched hands, and I said, oh, you know, you just need to like take it down a little, you know, a little nail polish, just get it smooth, you know, the nail polish remover, and you just paint right over. You don't have to do them all over again. And he really liked that. I told him I loved it that day, and that was a really nice feeling, you know, to share that warmth with him too. The last time, which was about a day or 2 later, I don't specifically know when, I went around the corner, and he came up to me, same bike, you know, I'm going down Tannery Brook right there, and he was like, hey, he's like, I just want to tell you, you know, I could tell, you know, you look really, you know, really strong inside and out. You're really healthier inside and out. So, thank you. I've been like making it a priority, and that was after that time of my family being in short-term housing. That's that tied connection. I'm sorry, I'm connecting thoughts here. Where I was feeling in that state of kind of like the end of time, feeling you don't know what way the direction's going to turn for your family. You're grateful, you're humble, nervous, and he came up to me and reminded me how strong I was, and how he could tell, like both like inside and out, and it was a lot more than he saw like last time. And I thanked him and I said, I'm really prioritizing, trying, I've been going through a lot, and thank you for noticing, and that was really nice. That was about 2 weeks ago, and again, I love you, JJ. I started calling him JJ in later years. That's fun. And told him I loved him, and I said, I'll see you soon. But I want to say that he didn't answer me. He kind of just gave me this look, and I remember kind of being like, and then again, just filled with love and gratitude to, just be a part of that love. Definitely going to, it's going to be hard, I think, for everyone to, when you're here. I think it's part of, what we would all see in our routines every day. And I want to just, how I feel is that he's, still there. And as much as it's great to have, statues and stuff of everywhere, but he's everywhere. And he's, all in the room. And when I went up to the community center thing, and I made Himalayan salt bottles and mountain water I made for everyone, and I put it out at the front of my daughter, Anthony Rose, she's 2, she painted pictures under it because when she was born, she was sharing in that too, and I remember how happy he was when we had her. I felt the love, of that and his presence, even as I put them and I made that, he was around, and everyone, and that vibrancy, and a recording of him, an audio of him over the track, and you could just see the way, the screen was playing, and everybody's love, and everybody's just everything, the flood of emotions, and, playing, and when he was talking, I felt I don't know if anybody else, I felt he was there, even more so, there was as much as he was there, I felt that, helped him kind of manifest his something there, I almost felt like I saw him standing there, in a weird way, just by all that. I wanted to share that too, and thanks for letting me share. I'm not the best speaker at all, and I have a lot of, I appreciate your openness, hearing stories about, my interactions with, our friend.
That was great.
Yeah, we don't grade, it's all
Thank
pass
you.
fail here. You pass.
Yeah, I just have anxiety, so sometimes I'm working on that, and I look up, I
Great
appreciate.
speech maker, definitely.
Thank you for letting me share.
timing.
Thank you. It means a lot, and I'm so grateful to be part of, our community has, done everything to me personally. I think I came here and I definitely fell apart and kind of reworked. We were like mycelium, kind of refolding the threads back together here as well. And I think that John, having that safe space for all of us to be part of that together. Maybe we're again, John, we wouldn't have fared so well, elsewhere. We're all really lucky, and I feel really blessed to have randomly stumbled from New Paltz to here in our wonderful library, and it's changed, everything about the way I've thought about things and my connections, and John was a firm reminder of that, in that friendship, in that love, and I would miss him a whole lot.
Okay, next.
So, thank you.
I don't know a damn thing about you, John, but I like you. Godspeed.
Right on.
There you go.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, hey buddy, I'm Billy. I'm Billy. John was my friend, and we were friends. And like I said, I've been here, 4 years. It's kind of a short time, but I'm very blessed to be here. But the time I spent with John was intense, so you know, yeah, the time I spent with John was very intense time, you know, and, very cool, memorable, you know. I have a pair of shoes that I wrecked following him trying to, you know, going up, whatever. I never went all the way up. Overlook, yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, not yet.
Going up and trying to keep up with John, you know. But yeah, that's why he called me Turtle. That's why, I think that's why, because it was going, you know, after, because I do that a lot, you know, so like I know Magic Meadow, and then I guess it was up in there, I don't know. But yeah, but you know, he took me stuff, yeah, and he showed me a lot, you know, the car down the, car up the mountain, that's pretty cool, you know? He showed me some cool shit, you know? When I first came, we would drive around, and I don't know, we're walking around, you know, because I was getting high back then, you know, I've been was clean and sober a while. I did some gummies tonight and smoked some weed, I'm feeling pretty good. So, but, you know, we had a good time, you know, I had some good times with John. Yeah, and in a short span of time, you know, I'm very blessed because I got to spend a decent amount of time. It wasn't a ton of time with John, but I guess I did get it. The time that we spent was, you know, it was intense. You know, I was saying he took me, you guys know, go West Orleans Road, and there's, you know, you make a left going out to Joe's, but you make the left, you go over the bridge. There's a big field there. I think it's, I don't know her name. She used to,
Morningstar's place back there?
yeah, he showed me. He showed me, we were in the woods, I can picture it now too, we were in the woods there. I remember that's where recently he showed me, you know, where he said it's like he said something like a baptismal thing or down there, or it's like a bath or something down there, you know, he showed me. And he had me drink the water. He did have me drink the water, and it was over the green stuff, he tells you, right? Is that what he tell you? Drink it where it's green, going over the green stuff. I'm pretty sure. That's what he would say. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And then this guy, Matthew told me the story. All right.
It helps to filter it, it adds benefits.
Matthew told me the story. This guy told me the story of Jogger met him, whatever he said. And he just met Jogger for the first time, and Jogger's walking down the road. It was up at the monastery, and then Jogger just passes him, and he goes and he gets out water bottles of spring water, you know? After the guy just said, hey, you're gonna meet this guy, he's all nuts about this water, you know? But he's jogging, and he's just got water bottles stashed all over the place. You know, that must have been the thing. You know, I didn't know that. So, you know, like he must, yeah. And, you know, I ride bicycle, and, Jogger's my morning star, my North Star with the bicycle, and he's my role model. And I want to be like Jogger. I want to be able to ride to Margaretville. You know, that's fucking crazy, right? Crazy Jogger on his bike rides, you know. So I want to keep riding my bike, and Jogger, I was you know, we rode bicycle together a little bit, you know. And he, you know, I'd ride up 212 when I go up like to Reynolds Lane, and he came with me a couple times on my ride, you know. Yeah. So yeah, it was nice riding bicycles with Jogger. And yeah, Jogger was, you know, Jogger was nuts, you know. I know that, you know, but I had good times with Jogger, you know. I'm very blessed. You know, I was drinking heavy when I first met him. I was drinking heavy. And you know, when I first came to town, I was drinking pretty heavy. I used to get fucked up and go over there, you know, which is way. But you know, he'd take anybody in, you know. He'd take, you know, he'd take guys in all kinds of condition. You could put it that way, you know. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Would you like to say something?
Sure, yeah, I'm Jessica, I'm new to New York, this is my first year here, and I don't know that many people, but one day, I live in Kingston, one day I came up to Woodstock, and I just went to read the newspaper during the day at the station and have a drink, and he was there, and had a really, it was, you know, it was pretty mesmerizing. It was like a wonderful ambassador. Yeah, and we watched you know, he was telling me about his, you know, sharing his history and showing that video and narrating it, and it was, you know, it was amazing. And yeah, it's a wonderful ambassador to hear. I was
Right
lucky
on.
to meet him.
Totally.
Space Cowboy is awesome.
Well, I didn't know John that well. I just, occasionally he'd come into the store or something, but I was looking on Facebook, and is there someone here named Anna Wyatt? Anybody know who she is?
Yeah, I know who she is.
That was an incredible little vignette that she wrote, and I just, I thought this is how I'd like to remember him. And he, apparently in 1976, she lived on the corner of Nair and Route 212 there, and it used to be a health food store. And Thanksgiving morning, it was very quiet. Nobody ever opened before 12 noon around these parts in those days, and it was very quiet early morning. And she got up early, looked out the window, and a soft, very delicate snow was falling, and she heard this humming. Looked out the window, everything perfectly quiet, no footsteps, no people yet. And here comes Jogger John down the street with his broom, sweeping Route 212. This was 1976. And it was just such a surreal scene, you know, it was like this tragic clown coming down the street. It must have been right when he left Bellevue or something, because it's 1976, I think he got it. It must have been when he just first got out of the hospital and ended up here. And I just, you know, this vision of this person who went through all these things and decided to come to Woodstock and take care of the town. It was just so magical. I wish I'd seen that side of him.
Okay, so I've known Jogger John since 1985, and I want to tell you a really long story about every time we hung out. So I hope you got a few hours. Actually, I just want to say, he didn't want anybody to be sad, ever. So just remember, he'll always live in our hearts.
I just have to say just one thing about John is no matter where you thought you were going, there would be John. He'd appear, and then you'd disappear. And it was always at that moment you knew that you were where you were supposed to be.
Yeah, you're passing, right?
Gail.
Gail?
Gail, it's your turn.
I met John here. I was sitting in the car and smoking a cigarette and thinking about a lot of things, and all of a sudden he showed up. I never met him before, and he's talking about Himalayan salt and asked me if I was all right. In my mind and in my heart, I was going through a hard time. I was going through post-traumatic stress because I chose to go through it because they said in order to heal, you have to take this journey from your mind to your heart. And I thought it sounded pretty cool. So somebody put me on it, the psychic, that's why I ended up here. But during that time, I gave my life to God and asked, you know, whoever you want me to meet, guide me, because my mind is not here now, and guide me to them. And so, along the way I met him, and I met my brother Paul, and I met lots of people, and some of them were gone now that are very well-known people, actors and things from my people, like Floyd Westerman and John Judell, Churchill and a lot of people, but I found that really great people really, a common man, like you said, common man, that's the greatest persons. And all of them had that quality. They might have fame, they might have money, they might have this or that, but they had, you know, just the ability to be who they are, for thine own self be true. And that sometimes when you're in that state of mind, when you give up all pretext, and you can just be who you are, and you allow yourself that freedom, then he did that too. And when he did that, he gave us permission to be who we really are. And I think that, for me, that was a great gift. And great guidance from the Great Spirit for all the people that came into my life. I don't know, I feel sometimes very unworthy in the presence of people because it's so beautiful to meet them. I see the faces of people I've known through the years, and it makes me happy to see you and just keep doing, you know, the teachings of all our spiritual teachings, or if you don't believe in God, you believe in the goodness of love. And I think that's basically what it was, what he had in him when he taught us. That's it. Oh, I want to tell you about the beach. We live at Woodstock Commons. I live right by him.
They live next door.
He lived next door, and they covered up, or we had our little gardens, flowers, and mine wasn't doing too good, but he'd go in the woods and pick up some weeds and plant it. I don't know what kind of weeds they were or whatever, but he liked them for whatever reason. And then the rug board decided to put a plastic over it and then rocks. So they covered up all our little flower gardens in front of our house. And then one day I went outside and he had a towel on the rocks. And he said, Gail, look, I got a beach.
You don't want to say anything?
Yeah, could I?
Yeah.
So, this is feeling very synchronistic. My name is John, and everything that everyone has been saying about this person sounds very much like what I embody. It's this love, this presence, this ability to make people feel like they're at home in themselves and their bodies and just at peace. And all day today I've been having this kind of deja vu, like I've been here before, like I've dreamed about this before. And it's all kind of been culminated into this, it feels like. And yeah, it feels very just incredible. It's like everyone is describing the way I am, as if
We're all one.
right,
Well,
exactly.
good, we're glad you showed up.
Exactly.
Kayla, you want to say anything?
Oh, sure. I just moved here 2 months ago from Texas. So I never really got to meet Jogger John. I did make a friend, and I think I started talking about spring water to her, and then she was like, oh, you should meet, have you met Jogger John or something? And I didn't know who this was. And I think she was just saying that I need to meet him, and that he's here, and that I will. And I didn't, but that's okay, because I'm here and everyone's sharing like all this love for this person that I don't know and have never known really, but
You'll meet him in the next life.
yeah, I mean his spirit just seems to be pretty laced and embedded throughout Woodstock, so I am meeting him, I think, in a sense. And yeah, it's really beautiful and touching to see the way like everyone is so openly sharing their heart and their warmth. And it kind of just shows how he has affected everyone by just like touching deep into the heart of everyone, allowing them to share with each other. just like kind of shows how he's created Woodstock, that essence that brings people together.
Right on.
Yeah, but that's my impression of.
There's a few people that came in late that might want to say
I
something.
know, but before we get to them, they have to go past me. And I just thought of a great title for Jogger. The Pope of Crazy Town. Because I think the essence of holy people in general is that they have a hole in them and that something comes through and something is allowed to manifest through that hole. And I think there's like a spirit of Woodstock that's been around for a long time, and it has a lot of generosity and a lot of creativity. Like Herbie White, there's a spirit, there's a kind of a spirit that hangs around here, you know. Somebody wrote Desolation Row, for example.
Mm. Yeah, he was our own mad saint.
Yeah.
You done?
I'm done, I'm sorry. Who's next?
So,
Phil? Oh,
I was blessed to get to know Jogger pretty well and spent more time with him than I would have ever imagined